Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is PokeTCG Gamer here, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my week 6 match of the NPL Majors, in which you're facing Blake, who is the coach of the Baltimore Braviaries. The first time we've ever played Blake was last NPL season, on which we did pick up a win. But this season, we have currently lost 2 straight, and are now at 3-2 with a +8 differential. So, obviously, definitely want to try and break that streak this week. After getting off to such a good start, it'd be just a shame to see the season go down the drain so quickly. So definitely gonna try and turn that around this week. It's gonna be a tough matchup. Blake has a very tough team right now. In week 6, he has Mew, Thunderous T, which is his first C move user, Crocodile, Metagross, Milotic, Mega Pidgeot, Whimsicott, his second Z move user, Quillfish, Hitmonlee, Zygarde 10%, and Abomasnow. So, as you guys can see here, the first mon that we have is our Mega Altaria this week, with the Roost, the Defog, the Fire Blast, and the Hyper Voice. The 120 in HP is to allow us to live a +2 HP Ice with no boosting item from a Thunderous Therian. I'm pretty sure is what that's for. The 184 speed is to outspeed just like something like a what is it, like a no speed Mew, or like a 16 speed Mew, or even a 20 speed Mew. I don't know what he wants to do for speed creeping, but we have a little bit of speed in this Altaria, and then the rest is dumped into our special attack so we can hit as hard as possible. Defog obviously for hazard removal. His rock setters are Mew, Crocodile, Metagross, and that's it. I defog okay versus those, but Hyper Voice and Fire Blast is just ideal coverage versus his team. Hyper Voice hits everything pretty much bar the Quillfish and the Metagross, and I guess Abomasnow too if it's soundproof. But Fire Blast hits Metagross and Abomasnow, and then Quillfish takes a ton from Hyper Voice. But this thing, it can switch into Crook decently well, unless it's those like Banded, Earthquake, or has Iron Tail. I can pivot into things like Milotic. I can switch into things like Hitmonlee. And yeah, this thing is just a very, very hard attacker, or very, very tough mon for him to switch into on his team, without something like an Assault Vest Metagross or something. But that would be vulnerable to something like an Earthquake Altaria, so I'm not sure what kind of say he's going to bring on his Metagross. But yeah, this is our Altaria this week. Hopefully be able to keep off hazards for the mon that we have in the back, which I'm not going to say yet. But Defog also helps this next mon in Weavile, which is Choice Banded this week with Pursuit, Ice Shard, Knockoff, and Ice Punch. I think this might be the second week in a row I brung Choice Band. I'm not actually sure. But yeah, we have Pursuit to trap things like the Mew if I know it doesn't have a Cobra Berry. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't have if I'm positive it doesn't have Vacuum Wave or Cobra Berry, I can Pursuit it. Ice Punch is just good stab versus things like Mega Pidgeot, Thunderous T, kill those. Crocodile, and his what is it? His Whimsicott. So yeah, that is pretty much it for my Weavile. It's pretty straightforward this week. Here to check his offensive threats, like I said, like the Whimsicott and the Mega Pidgeot and the Thunderous T, and it can Pursuit those as well. As well as Ice Shard ship like a Double Dance, or Ice Shard kill a Double Dance Thunderous T if I weaken it enough. As well as also check Zygarde 10% as long as I'm not in range of E-Speed. So that is pretty much it for my Weavile. The speed, I don't think I have to mention it, but it is to outspeed the Mega Pidgeot, and then the rest is dumped into HP. So the next mon is my Slowbro this week with Slack Off, Toxic, Scald, and Calm Mind. A bit of a weird set this week, obviously having no just only Scald as my stab. But it does actually hit his team pretty hard. The only thing he has that resists Scald is Milotic, which I can Toxic as long as it's not Refresh or Rest. Whimsicott, which I can Toxic, and Quillfish, which can't really do much to me outside of toxicking me. So but and a Abomasnow I guess too. But I don't really expect a Abomasnow, but I can pretty much Calm Mind and Scald through in a lot of cases. But this thing is mainly here to toxic the likes of my Lodic, as long as it's not rest or refresh. And even if I get toxic from his Milotic, I do have a heal blower in the back, which you guys will see in a second. But the Cold Berry, obviously, just so I don't have to like play any mind games with Crocodile pursuing me if it's like Choice Bandit or something. Don't have to play any mind games with that, as well as Cobra helps with Hitmonlee's knockoff, for example. So yeah, that is pretty much it for my Slowbro. So next up we have Articuno this week with Roost, Toxic, Heal and Freeze Dry. This set is actually extremely good versus most of his team. We have the 140 in speed to outspeed 16 speed Mew. We have and then we just have the rest in HP and special defense with a calm nature. This thing is going to be my main switch into something like the Mega Pidgeot, as I actually choose things like Heat Wave very easily. And Roost, Toxic, Heal, Freeze Dry. If someone toxics me, or just if Slowbro's toxic, or if my look toxics my Articuno, I just Heal that way. Freeze Dry, obviously, to hit the Milotic for some type of damage. I could talk to the Mew and then heal myself if it synchronizes onto me. And Freeze Dry is actually just a really nice stab versus a team. Hits I think it hits 7 of his mons super effective, which is extremely nice. I really don't even need to invest, and the only thing that's taking on this thing really is his Metagross. So if I can weaken that with things like Weavile or the Slowbro or Altaria Fire Blasting, then that'll be extremely nice. But yeah, this is a very nice spawn in this matchup. So next up we have Extra with the Choice Scarf set this week with Rapid Spin, Rock Slide, Iron Head, and Earthquake. We are outspeed. We have 100 in our HP, 252 adamant with our attack, and 156 into speed, which allows us to outspeed a max speed Mega Pidgeot. Rapid Spin just for another removal option, since we do have Articuno this week, and keeping rocks off will be key. If I can't defog with my Altaria, I'd like to spin with my Extra. We have the Rock Slide to check things like Thunderous T after rocks and Mega Pidgeot. Iron Head just for another stab that Oko's some like Whimsicott and Abomasnow. And then Earthquake is just to hit everything else like Metagross. Hits my Lodic decently hard, as long as doesn't have like a Marvel scale boost. Hits Coolfish, my hardest hitting move for Hitmonlee, and Zygarde 10%. So that is pretty much it for my Extra. Pretty straightforward set this week. Obviously I don't need any other sand ability. So Mold Breaker was my Mold Breaker was the way to go, as that allows me. Actually, I don't think it allows me to hit anything this week that I would already be able to hit with Earthquake. But I really just didn't need the other abilities either. So that is it for my Extra. And last up, we have Golurk this week making. I want to say that this is its debut week. Let me just make sure I'm not being stupid right now. Yeah, this is Golurk's debut week. As we have the Stealth Rocks, the Ice Punch, the Shadow Punch, and the Earthquake with the Cobra Berry. A bit of some odd EVs. I didn't really need any speed. The 236 plus attack allows me to 2-hit KO a Crocodile even after Intimidate. Like if I'm 1v1 versus the Crocodile, I can stay in on a knockoff, Ice Punch it, and Ice Punch it again. I'll live 2 knockoffs because of my Cobra Berry. The 212 in Spadef allows me to live a +2 HPS for my Thunderous T, similar to my Altaria. And yeah, this is my rocker this week. I could have put them on Extra, but I did like Golurk this week just because it does rock what it does set up rocks well versus Mew, and as long as it's not Will-O-Wisp, I can Shadow Punch it, do a lot of damage that way. Yeah, pretty straightforward right here with this Golurk. I think that's it for the team builder, guys. So I will see you guys in the battle. And we are back with the battle versus Blake. As you guys can see, he brought the Thunderous Therian, the Crocodile, the Melodic, the Quillfish, the Mew, and the Metagross. Off the bat, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I wasn't really sure what to expect from the Mew. But I expect something like Rock's Crook, Z Nasty Pod, Z Thunderous, some kind of defensive Milotic, probably some Hazard Stacking Quillfish, and maybe an Assault Vest Metagross, something like that. But right off the bat, I can see that if I can weaken the Metagross, Articuno looks fantastic in this matchup, especially if I have Rocks. So yeah, let's just get into the battle. I actually forget what exactly I lead with, so I guess we'll find out. So I lead with my Altaria, just to make sure that something like Crook couldn't get up Rocks turn 1 is why I did that, as well as something like Thunderous T can't set up freely, I guess, even though it could have something like Nasty Bot Sludge Wave, which would blow away my Altaria, but I don't really expect that coverage on it. So right here I'm just gonna Mega Evolve. I get a free Hyper Voice off on this, get to see if it's toxic. If it is, I can heal blow that later. So yeah, I'm just gonna fire off a Hyper Voice, and that's going to do 41 as he misses the toxic. So right here, definitely expect a recover on his end. I'm just gonna go into my Slowbro, try and toxic this thing. As I expect to recover, as he just doubles down to his Quillfish. So right here, I don't really expect him to take a Psychic. Or he could and just try to set up a Hazard, but I'm just gonna go for a Calm Mind, seeing if he wanted to switch into Slowbro. Now I really wanted to Toxic right here, but I do Discard as the Milotic comes in, as I risk a burn. I do get the burn, so now I can't Toxic him. But you guys are gonna see in a few turns. Actually, I'm just gonna spoil it. He is Rest. So now he talks my Articuno. And actually that's pretty good for me, because him toxing my Articuno means he only has 13 toxics left because of pressure, so that's pretty nice. Now I can just heal Bell and get rid of 3 toxics that he's technically thrown off. So yeah, he hasn't used Rest yet, but he does have the Rest, so I'm just gonna tox this Mew as Synchronized fails, obviously. And now I'm just going to heal Bell up, as he can't, as you guys are seeing, that Thunderbolt just did 28%. So I'm just going to heal Bell, getting rid of the poison on my Articuno. So now I'm just going to Roost up, and as he goes into his Metagross, he now doubles out into his Thunderous T, making a very solid play. As I just go into my extra, I'm just going to, I double into my Golurk here. I could just fire it off a Rock Slide, but he does this knockoff. And now I'm just going to get out my Rocks if he allows me to do so, as he does, as he goes into his Milotic. And I think right here is where he reveals the Rest, as I just go into my Slowbro, getting the normal Toxic off on me instead of a actual Toxic. So now he goes into his Metagross. I'm just going to fire off a Scald, nothing really else. I could have Calm Minded, but now he just actually tricks here. He tricks me a Choice Scarf, which is pretty unfortunate, because this Slowbro actually, it could have possibly won. Not going to say that just outright won if I didn't get tricked, but it could have put in a lot of work, but he does let me weaken his Metagross at the expense of crippling my Slowbro, which is actually amazing for me, because Articuno is going to put in a ton of work. So now, going to extra, I'm just going to spin. If he Sleep Talks a Scald, I'll have to live with that, but he just Sleep Talks a Rest. So I'm just gonna go into my Articuno. It's gonna be a little stally right here. I'm just gonna let the turns play out. I'm not sure if it's this, but in a little bit it gets a little bit stally with me freeze drying and him resting. So he just Toxics right here. Now he's down to 11 Toxics, and I still have 6 heal bells after I use 1 more to get rid of my current Toxic. So right here I think I just freeze dry again, or no, I just heal Bell, as he's just gonna rest. And what I need to do to beat this Milotic with my Articuno is knock it off with my Weavile. So I'm just gonna freeze right here, doing 36. As he Sleep Talks and Ice Beam. So as you guys can see, he does actually not have Scald. It is Sleep Talk, Rest, Toxic, Ice Beam. At this point, if I got something like a crit freeze dry, I'd be able to kill this Milotic. But if I don't, then this is just gonna be um, a long sequence of turns. But I do have 32 freeze dries, so I can afford to burn some of them, as I don't really need to save them for anything in specific. So he's just gonna Sleep Talk a Toxic, which actually isn't super good because it doesn't actually pressure doesn't work on his actual toxics. Um, so I think right here I don't even heal ball. I just go into my Weavile. Yep. Because what I wanted to do here was he's gonna rest obviously, but he hasn't birthday sleep turns, and I really thought he wouldn't want to take a knock because that means my Articuno can start to be in 1v1. But he actually stays in right here as I try to pursuit. And what pursuiting did was it would have put him at a range where if he was 1v1 versus my Articuno again, he has a birthday turn to sleep, so he would end up losing that battle. But he does stay in. It just sleep toxic, which is completely fine. I can heal about that later. As my Articuno is also toxic still, so I'm just gonna go into it, and he actually makes a nice play into Thunderous, which does take rocks, which so I'm okay with it, but I do not get to get my Hebo off just yet. Now I'm gonna go into my X-Drill. It's a fairly obvious knockoff comes out, which is kind of bad for me because now my X-Drill cannot check his Thunders anymore. But now he goes into his Crook as I double out into my Altaria. Now I'm just gonna fire off a Hyper Voice, and you guys are gonna see right here this Hyper Voice does 44 to this Coolfish, so I'm pretty comfortable firing off another one, as I could outspeed and get a roll. And even if I don't, Poison Jab isn't going to be killing me or anything. So I'm just going to fire off a Hyper Voice as he actually crits the Poison Jab, which was 2-hit killing anyway. And I actually crit the Hyper Voice, so that eliminates that roll, that type of roll there. So both get a crit on that turn. I wouldn't say that either one really mattered too much. Except now my Altaria with the crit and the poison dies to rocks if he gets them back up. But I still do have my spinner, so I'm okay being in that position. So now he goes into his Mew, and as we saw before, my Articuno chews T-bolts from this Mew. So I'm just gonna go hard into it. As he just fires off an Ice Beam, and now I get a free heal bow because Thunderbolt is not 2-hit me. He'd have to get a crit, and now I can just roost up on this Mew. So yeah, pretty stally at this point in the battle. He goes into his Milotic. I'm just gonna roost up. He still hasn't burnt, or no, he's burnt a sleep turn now. But he's only burnt one, as I do get a crit right here. But even with the craze, he's burnt both sleep turns now, and unless I get a double crit, he's just gonna be able to rest. So I just freeze dry again, don't get a double crit, as he rests up again. So I'm just gonna repeat this process one more time. Or no, I just go hard into my Weavile here. I'm just gonna knock this thing off now, as he showed me before that he's not gonna switch out. So now I get off the knockoff, and Articuno is now in a fantastic spot to beat this Milotic 1v1 because it does not have his leftovers. So now he fires off another Toxic. At this point, I'm not sure. I think I have 4 Hebos left, maybe, which is definitely plenty. I'm not sure if it's 4. Either way, I still have enough heal bows to do what I need to do with this Articuno. So now, I'm just going to start spamming Freeze Dry, as he's kind of forced into spamming Roost. I'm just going to Freeze Dry once, as Poison is starting to take its toll, and he doesn't have any leftovers or anything. So, I'm just going to keep Freeze Drying as he keeps roosting. I didn't really understand this play, because this is a losing battle for him, as he's just going to keep on losing more and more health from Toxic, as now he's losing 30. So now he's just roosting. Literally, Freeze Dry plus Toxic is now outdoing Roost. So now he's down to 54. He's trying to Roost. I have no. I think he was just trying to burn Freeze Dries. But I don't mind wasting these Freeze Dries. I literally, even after this exchange, I still have like what I want to say like a little bit under half of them left. But yeah, Articuno picks up its first kill of the match, and now he goes into his Crook. Really expected him to set up rocks here, I'm just gonna freeze dry, getting off some damage here as he does just get up his rocks. And now predicting a knockoff. I'm just gonna roost up um, as he does just knockoff, and I'm going to roost as now he just fires off a Thunderfang, which I assume he had for the Gyarados, which makes a lot of sense. Being able to check Gyarados is pretty key. Um, as Stone Edge would not do that, but Thunderfang definitely would. So I'm just gonna freeze try again as he misses the Thunderfang, which is a bit unfortunate. But now he doesn't have leftovers with this Milotic. I'm just gonna freeze dry as he loses 1v1 to this Articuno with this Milotic. Because yeah, you guys can see that's doing 34. He needs me to get some low rolls with freeze dry. As right here I do 35, and I think even if I get a low roll, I'll be able to kill him with the freeze dry. As I do just that, and now Articuno has 3 kills this match. As he goes into his Metagross, I'm just gonna go into my Slowbro. Even if it's Scarfed, I can still fire off a Scald, and that's what I'm gonna do right here. I fire off a Scald on his Thundurus, as it just 36, and I get a burn. So now I'm just gonna go on into my extra, and right here actually just I preserved the 6-0. Obviously differential is extremely important, and with my 2 losses last week, I wanted to get in my last 2 weeks, I wanted to get as much differential as possible. So his superpowers, I go into Golurk, and Metagross comes out. I'm just going to go into my Slowbro. He just Iron Heads, and now Slowbro is going to finish off the game with a Scald as he Thunder Punches. So we pick up a nice 6-0 win versus Blake. He couldn't really do much about the Articuno once he let his Metagross get weakened, but crippling Slowbro was also a fair play, so I can't really say anything about that. But yeah, GG to Blake. We are now 4-2 with a plus 14 differential. Definitely a good way to bounce back from 2 straight losses. Next week we're facing Aster, who is actually in first in his conference. I'm not sure if him or Gypsy is ahead overall wise, but he is doing extremely well this season, sitting at 5-1. So that's gonna be a very, very good match. Looking forward to that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.